How are you?
I'm good.
I'm here.
Please do that.
Thanks. I'm here with KevinMarks at Google I/O, and we started talking about identity, the best person to have this conversation about. So, tell me about OpenID. I mean, OpenID has been around for a while, and there's renewed interest in Facebook. Have they done anything unique or different?
Well, what OpenID lets you do is it lets you find out that somebody owns a URL. That's its basic function. So what you can then do from that is a set of other things. So up to now, people have used OpenID primarily for replacing an email for login. On its own, that's not a great benefit because the amount of effort is about the same to log in either way. What adds value with OpenID, apart from saving you having to enter a password, is that from the URL that you end up handing to the service, they can discover more things about you. And up to now, there's only been a simple protocol for getting a few labels out of that. What's new now is that there's a way to connect that OpenID to a bunch of other information. We have what's called the OpenID OAuth hybrid protocol that lets you tie OpenID to OAuth, and then you can use the portable contact standard to get the user's profile and the user's friends from that. And this is something that Google implemented early on last December for the Google Contact. It's also part of the Open Social Spec in 0.8, so that many of the social networks are implementing this as well. What this means is that you can use that ID to log into a site and get the user's profile and contact information and their friends directly in one operation as you sign in. So that suddenly makes the OpenID much more useful than the email address, because to do that same operation with the email address, you have to do a lot of complicated stuff, go and scrape the address book out of the site and do things like that. So at Google, we're very keen for people to do this rather than do that, because we really don't want people having passwords handed out to any site willy-nilly, whereas this lets you draw it directly from the user, and the user is given clear permission on what they're trying to do with it.
So, with Facebook implementing OpenID, does it make them bring them in parity with Friend Connect, or is there a difference?
The difference, Google Friend Connect is built on this same idea of you sign in with OpenID and you can connect friends from other sources. So it will do the full onboarding of OpenID, OAuth, and portable contact in one go if it's there, or it will let you separately connect them, so you can say I'm signing with an OpenID and I'm connecting this set of contacts and that set of contacts. So it's building a sort of broader set there. The specific case that Facebook is doing is the case that Flaxo demonstrated in December, and FriendFeed showed off 2 or 3 weeks ago, where you use it as part of the sign-up process. When you sign into the site, it draws in both your name and your email address and all your contacts, so that you can use those as part of the sign-up process. Now, for Flaxo and for Facebook, because their friend model is symmetric, that just lets you get to the point of inviting people to be your friend. The interesting one is FriendFeed. When you sign up for FriendFeed, because their friend model is asymmetric, it means they can instantly give you the feeds of all the people who were in your address book, and then you can delete the ones you don't want. So what that means is the sign-up process for FriendFeed is now go to FriendFeed, click on the Gmail button, it will draw in all the people from your contacts. If they're already members of FriendFeed, it will give you a feedback that is the sum of all their stuff. And suddenly the refriend madness that Joe talks about has gone completely because of that model. So Facebook has done the same thing. They've provided the ability for users to connect to the Google accounts better. The other thing that works is that if you're signed into Google, they can detect that through the OpenID model. So as long as you're signed into Gmail, you're signed into Facebook too.
I realize that.
It saves the login phase completely. So that's the other model. So FriendFeed does that as well, and Flaxo. So they're all adopting the same thing. What this means is that we've sort of hit a point now where it's actually easier to do this stuff with the open standards than to do it the painful way of, get people to give you their email, send out an email to them, dig it out of the spam folder, click on it, go back to the site, then ask them for their password for that site so you can go and pretend to be them and take their address book out. And that process that we've all sort of trained ourselves to put up with when we sign up for a new site can go away now, and we can use the open spec stuff instead. That's the sort of excitement for me, is that we've made that easier than the old model. And the smart sites are starting to see that they can do this and they can see the benefits. So it's nice to see Facebook doing that. It would be even nicer if Facebook supported exporting their stuff in these formats as well, but I'm hopeful that eventually over time they'll come up with that too.
So Twitter does straight OAuth and no OpenID.
Yes.
So what's the difference there?
So this gets deep into the identity.
Right,
there's authentication, which proves who you are, and authorization, which proves what you're allowed to do. Now, you tend to actually need both, because you can say what you're doing to prove who you are. So Twitter didn't adopt the OpenID part, they just let you do authorization. Okay, I'm allowed to be this person. I'm this person on Twitter, and I'm allowing this site to do these things. So that they did that part of it. So you can actually use that same thing, but they've only got a piece of the protocol there, and they haven't. I suppose they kind of have proved the URL because you can construct the URL from your Twitter account, but they haven't done it through the OpenID. But the basic model is the same. You can do the same thing of, now I can draw these people in. Now, they're not using the open spec for portable context, they're using their own API. So that means that if you're writing, Joe Smart said today, he wrote the code for Google, then he went and tried it on MySpace, and he didn't have to change the code because we're using the same open standard for everything. That's pretty significant. So Twitter has adopted the OAuth part, which is the authorization protocol, but they haven't adopted the portable context standard for contacts, and they haven't adopted OpenID for the URL spec. So, that can work. Each of these things is valuable in their own right. Adopting any of the standards is good. And different people have picked different pieces depending on what suits them. And what we're trying to do is build a set of these things to compose different standards to do the pieces that they want to do.
Very cool. Thanks.
Okay.
Bye.